what are the advantages, disadvantages, and further reading. So this is really a tool for people who are interested in expanding their approach to ensure that the sustainability of a project is there from the beginning. And this tool is hopefully going to be available by the end of the summer, also in Arabic. And we are looking to include this in many different humanitarian response agencies. So if you are interested in understanding more about this, again, as we are all saying, please come to the booth, and we would like to give you some more information on how you can use this and how it can benefit you. Thank you. I don't know.
Okay, last up from our presentations, and before we get to the panel, I'd like to invite Thorsten Reckerzugl, who will show us a new version of the compendium. And it's not reacting. There we go. Thorsten?
Hello, everybody. I'm going to present another compendium or another tool for sanitation and wash, but it's more focused on technologies and emergencies. The tool is not available yet. It's currently under preparation, and it's called Compendium of Sanitation Technologies in Emergency. And what is the aim of this new compendium? It's an expert, peer-reviewed overview on sanitation technologies for emergency. It will be, or is prepared by multiple agencies, so it's going to become a multiple agency publication. It's covering the entire sanitation service chain, and it's somehow the humanitarian counterpart or counterpiece of the existing compendium on sanitation systems and technologies developed by Sandek. Yeah, and why do we need this new compendium? Currently, there doesn't exist an up-to-date emergency sanitation compendium. Existing sanitation publications do not cover, or very often don't cover, the whole entire sanitation service chain. And we have plenty of new framework conditions in this field of work, like linking relief, rehabilitation, and development becomes more and more important. We have more and more protracted crisis situations. The sustainability issue, since crises last much longer, becomes more and more important. And we have to work more and more in an urban context, and other issues also adding up to the traditional emergency sanitation field, like fecal sludge management, which haven't been tackled a lot in the past. So what is this compendium about? What can it provide? What can't it provide? It's a systematic, up-to-date hardware or technology overview covering the entire sanitation chain. And it's also a tool for capacity development, and it's also partly a tool for decision support on emergency sanitation. It's not a one-stop publication covering all issues of emergency-related sanitation solutions, and it's no detailed design guidebook. I mentioned that the sanitation is a multiple agency publications, so we have some organizations who started or initiated the development of this publication, like the German WASH Network, EAWAG, the German government, the International WASH Cluster, or SuSanA. And we have partner organizations supporting it. Here on the lower part you see the German partners from the German WASH Network. Here some more international organizations also involved. Some of the organizations just support the development. Others are more involved in the peer review group, because we have an expert peer review group who is supporting the development. And now we come to the structure of this publication. It's very much similar to the EAWAG compendium. So we have one part which can be called a decision support tool with an introduction, key criteria, and cross-cutting issues applied for the different situations and issues. And a second part, which is a compilation of technology sheets, giving an overview on the different technologies over the whole service chain, from the user interface, over storage, treatment, conveyance, off-site treatment, and disposal and reuse. Here I don't go into details. This is giving the technologies currently considered within the compendium. Also again over the whole sanitation service chain. And this is an example of the technology sheet, which is which can be found later on under the second part of the compendium. And there the technologies are briefly described. Costs are mentioned, operational maintenance, strengths and weaknesses, and under which situations this compendium or this technology could be applied. So, as I mentioned, the compendium is not finished yet. We plan to present the first draft at the Stockholm Water Week this year in August. And we plan to finish and launch it, the compendium, at the Global WASH Cluster meeting, probably in Germany in March 2018. That means in 1 year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thorsten. And last but not least, I'd like to invite Dr. Amaya Assayed from the Royal Scientific Society of Jordan.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the invitation, though it was very short notice. I'm going to talk in a few minutes about the challenges that are related to social acceptance and the resulting difficulties in presenting sustainable sanitation showcases. And I think we all agree that social acceptance is at heart of the sustainable sanitation. But if I ask a question, what does social acceptance mean? Does social acceptance mean community participation or community engagement? I can say that social acceptance does not mean community participation or community engagement whatsoever. So if you, for example, get community involved in your project, that does not mean this is social acceptance. This is a very important point. And bear in mind that local communities, they would like to work with donors. They would like to work with funding agencies. So whenever you ask them to join you in your efforts, they will accept. But that does not mean social acceptance. Okay, well, what does social acceptance mean? Social acceptance means satisfying the authentic demand. Satisfying the authentic demand. So that means that we have fake demand. We have authentic demand and we have fake demand. So it is not authentic demand. So social acceptance is satisfying the authentic demand. I'll tell you the story from the beginning. I don't have enough time, but anyway, I'll rush. We have need, and we need to identify the real needs of the community. And be careful not to impose needs and not to work like what we call it fund-oriented needs. fund-oriented needs. Okay, so we need, make your survey, make your RRA and PRA and interviews just to identify the real needs. Whenever you identify the real needs, now you can work on awareness, social marketing, to motivate people to cover their needs, to motivate them. I'll give some examples now to make it like more clear. Now, once you motivate people to cover their needs, now, if they can spare some of their time, and if they can pay money from their pockets, this is a demand. I need Mercedes, and I got motivated to buy Mercedes, but I don't have enough money to buy Mercedes. There's no demand on Mercedes from my side. Does that make sense? Okay, anyway. Okay, I have to rush, sorry. You know this peddler example? They usually come to you, please buy from me, please buy from me. So he keeps nagging, and then you'll buy his stuff, but you don't need it, so you'll throw it away. And sometimes we actually do that in sanitation, or in wastewater treatment, or decentralized wastewater treatment. I'll skip this example. I'll give some example here. For example, this is need. I need to get rid of diseases. I need to get rid of diarrhea, for example. So now, this is the real need. This is actual need, authentic need, based on survey, based on interviews, etc. So you can now make some sort of social marketing, awareness, etc., to get people motivated to wash their hands. Then, if you afford them soups and taps, then there will be demand on washing hands. Sustainable sanitation comes here on demand side, not on need side. And this is a big mistake sometimes we usually do, that we try to cover the need side. Need varies across time, place, people, etc. This one example, for example, I have cesspools and does not need any emptying. I don't need even the treated wastewater out of it. So there's no need, but the fund is for wastewater treatment, for example, in this area. So I'm trying to impose the need. I'm trying to create a need in that time, and this is not like a real need. So you will create fake willingness, and you will end up with fake demand, and this is unsustainable solution. This is some thoughts and conclusions. Sustainable sanitation works on demand side. Your efforts should go towards sustain this demand by reliable, affordable, and tangible impact technology or product. And this is the social acceptance. Focus group discussions, surveys, and all these social tools are important to identify the needs and measure the demands. However, it has to be neutral. What does that mean? That if you go to the community and ask them, well, we are GIZ and we have like fund. We are GIZ and we have fund for sanitation. What's your need? Our need is sanitation, of course, because the fund is for sanitation. So you have to be neutral and ask the community, we are like, we need to measure to identify your needs, and that's it. We don't belong to any agency or like institution. Big mistake to build your sanitation system on needs. Because needs vary along with time, place, and even modes. So we need to build our sanitation system on demand side. Behavioral change, awareness campaign aims at motivating users to adopt appropriate sanitation system and not to convince them that you need the sanitation service. The need, it comes from him. So it is like what they call it, the chemical engineers. It's exothermic reaction. So it releases from his side or him side. Fund-oriented needs, donor-oriented needs. This will end up with, I'm quite optimistic, 99%, but 100% failure. Needs can be created over time by laws, policies. I'll skip this point because it needs a lot of discussion. Kind and in-kind contribution are the main indicators for actual needs and authentic demand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I ask Dr. Maha to come in front? We now come to the second part. We'll do that for about 1.5 hour panel discussion, and I'd also like the panelists to come up front. Maybe you invite the panelists yourself.
Good afternoon. May I invite, please, Dr. Muayyad? Muayyad, may I ask you to be here? Malik, Ghada. وين الباقيين؟ Yes, Miflah. And we were supposed also to have Ibrahim Ismail from the UNICEF, but apparently he was not able to join. He apologized due to some. Okay, so just a wrap-up of the morning talk. Since sanitation is agreed on as a human right, let's say, from the international community, it's within SDG, it is SDG 6, with most of the targets of the SDG 6 are more or less linked to sanitation services and sanitation provision. I also would like to add two major and main points. The first one that is related to climate change, because it is very important. Maybe we are not, or we started already to see some effects of the droughts or maybe floods, and lots of publication. We already know lots of occasions with pathogens transferred during flooding, causing outbreaks like cholera. We may recall, for example, from South Africa in 2000, there was outbreak of cholera, and cholera, everyone knows that it may kill in one day. So we are talking about acute conditions related to climate change. It is appearing, and it can be even more severe. And there is quite a lot of debates and discussions about that and what to do. Sanitation, of course, is part of it. The other main challenge that I also would like to highlight before we start the discussion is something also we can see it easily in our region, which is the political unrest. Wars, I think everyone can remember what happened in Iraq with also cholera outbreak, I think a couple of years ago. So, and this is very much related to sanitation. In looking to the region in general, if we talk about cities, we see like good collection. And if we want to just differentiate between like acute conditions when we are talking about pathogens, or we talk about environmental impact of sanitation, of not providing sanitation, this is another story, which you were talking about, pointing out that maybe 80% of the wastewater that is collected is not treated. 80% is not treated. So whether this is sustainable or not is another story. But let's focus in parallel to this specific session on like unserved people, that the people who are not served with sanitation services, and in most of our regions, those are outside the big city. So let's focus on that. And just to wrap up also this sustainable part, we are covering different dimensions, interacting the economic feasibility of any project or any topic related to sanitation. We are talking about social acceptability of that project. We are also talking about environmental dimension. We are also talking about whether it is technically feasible or not. So there is quite institutionally, if the institution is ready to come up with such services for the unserved people. So in this regard, how having all these dimensions, we are sure that there are quite lots of challenges. Adding to the challenges already existing with the sanitation. So sustainable sanitation adds additional challenges. So I would like to put this discussion in two parts, and we do it because we really have to finish at 4. Let's do it very fast round first to just highlight the main challenges that we face in